Yes. Um, okay, great. So, yeah, last time, uh,
First, welcome back, everybody.
hello, welcome. Thank you for,
Yeah.
your patience
Happy New
and giving
Year.
me some time. So, uh, I guess actually this is a good time to explain, first, I have been moving some of our stuff over from OneNote to World Anvil. It's not done yet because there's a lot of stuff, and I've been also kind of learning how to World Anvil at the same time. So I have moved over a bunch of the rules. I've obviously had you guys do some homework and get your characters initialized. So they're in the world, in certain locations. I think I don't have the World Anvil link in Discord yet, do I? Let me send it to you. Um, I will just paste it in here for now. And pin it a little bit later, probably in the general chat. But um, if you want to check that out, also that's a public link. If you want to throw it in your Twitch chat or something, Nimbus, anybody can look at that. So again, super permanent work in progress. I'm still moving things around, so it's not really done even for Redshift just yet. But there is a little bit of information in there that you can feel free to browse if you like. There is also a primer for the campaign. Which contains all of the table rules and everything. Um, and those are the same as we had in the OneNote. So I'm still using the OneNote for some stuff like the calendar mostly, but I'm working on transferring that over in a way that makes sense and does not suck. Um, so that's happening.
How can
Um,
I give you my link?
so I gave you a link a while ago. I can't click your link, but you have to click my link that I posted a while back. If you can't find it, we'll do it after the session.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So, in the actual game, last time, after a lot of work making a unicorn horn that had been terribly shifted into a viable tool, um, the huge and impervious glass wall at Shose was removed. Um, during which a great battle occurred, um, and the party heroically stood in defense while Montlarin and Alvistaver rode forward through the city to uh, take down that wall.
And no one even died.
Nobody died.
I know.
That's amazing.
So Montlarin was severely drained of basically all of his resources by this, and he perhaps only realized a short time after the fact that the spear in its entirety had simply vanished from his hand at some point during that event. Um, upon returning to Aris's tower, there was a large convention of the commission figuring out what was going to happen next and also dealing with the aftershocks of three first waves in a row for the first time ever before the Redshift started immediately after that wall was destroyed.
And that
Um,
slept.
It did, yes. There were a few expeditionists here and there who were reporting being feeling very ill or even being knocked out completely by that. At current time, everybody's pretty much fine, um, but it was definitely scary for a bit. And there are theories and rumors as to why that might have occurred. Dex himself has muttered ideas about maybe a sort of psychic overload to those who are sensitive to that sort of thing. Um, but nothing really conclusive. And there don't seem to be any lasting after effects, fortunately, for anybody. Um, a few things were discussed at this convention, namely moving into Shose, despite the dangers of it being a fairly notable target for our friends, the dragon princes in the zone. It's likely a wiser choice to take the city and use it and fortify it, rather than perhaps even let them get their claws on it at this point. So um, that has become the plan. Certain processes are needed to get everybody over there, but the first order of business is getting an obelisk to the city and putting it down somewhere in the middle. Um, Obviously, there's going to be a lot of excavation, exploration, preparations, and Naya, I believe there were some plans to potentially even start growing some.
Terraforming?
Yeah, doing a little bit of terraforming
Yep.
to protect against the encroaching desert sands. Now that the only barrier in the Chose Valley is gone. Um, so this is where we are now. We are just about to um, break out from under the Redshift and begin the process of getting into Shose. It's going to be a significant amount of work on all sides. From pretty much everybody in the commission is going to be participating in this. There's going to be a lot of moving parts and people getting around, and uh, the way this is going to work is there are a few things that need to happen to make Chose into a functional base camp or fort. And there's a certain amount of time that this is going to take. Obviously, this is going to take more than just one break in the redshift. This is probably going to take several. So currently, it is early Tadas toward the end of the year, and you all are going to have 3 months to do the following. Uh, Dex needs some help building and transporting the latest obelisk, mostly transporting it, getting it set up. Um, Chose has several aqueducts. It is definitely a point of interest to potentially um, get these working again, if possible. That was something that uh, Arisa and Guyvin had mentioned as a possibility.
Yep.
Um, the two children living with grandmother that were born from the seeds, Kapua and Macau, um, she offered that they could come to Chose and act as sort of um, guardians of this terraforming that you're planning to do. They will need some help acclimating to things and getting involved. Um, Obviously, there's some need for fortifications around the city. A single obelisk likely cannot cover the entirety of the Chose city. It's a pretty big place. Probably what will need to happen is some kind of inner wall will need to be built around wherever the commission decides to sit themselves and their obelisk. Um, and some defenses will need to be built as well. Popular consensus has been that maybe we should get a few ballistae set up. Um, and finally, the northeast half of the city is finally accessible. Uh, you all, as well as some other scouts among the commission, have already explored the southwest half pretty thoroughly, and the consensus was that the dragon princes probably got to it way before we did. But now there's access to the northeast half, but also the northeast half is half buried in a whole lot of sand. So some means of digging through that and getting to the other side is probably going to be necessary, and part of these fortifications is probably going to be clearing things out so that the commission is not dealing with getting sanded in constantly. Um, those are the five big things that need to happen. And what I want to do is ask everybody in the team to each um, tell me the thing that you're going to be working on uh, during these 3 months to help get this base set up, or what you're going to be doing around the commission while this is going on. Basically, one big task from each of you, I think, is the plan right here, and that's how you're going to be able to spend the next 7 or so redshifts. And we can take it
Water
in
stuff.
alphabetical order.
Oh, go for it.
That is assuming Albus Tabber wants to go first.
I'm alphabet. Oh wow, I am alphabetical.
Yeah, you sure.
Shit. One big task.
Do you need a minute to think about it?
I have an idea for a big task, but I don't know if it's pushing it or not.
Okay, yeah, this is great. We can go through ideas and plans. Let's hear it.
I wanted to get the body functioning so that I can not only use it as an excuse to, give Keen that whole body thing, but also to carry shit, right? Like I've literally seen Gamora carry pounds. His name is Gamora, right?
Gabora.
Smitty's. One more time.
Gabora with a B.
Gabora, thank you. Like I've seen Gabora move shit. If this construct works the way I want it to, it could definitely be attached to like a sledge or something, like not a sledge, but a dredge or something like that, a toboggan, and it could definitely help bring way more material to the.
You are 100% correct. Now, the only issue is that you are still lacking a piece of your key focus. And Keen cannot properly meld with it in the experiments that you've attempted so far. She cannot fully become part of this spike that you have until you find the last part. Presumably, there's one more if parts are of roughly equal size to each other.
Yeah, good point.
So until you're able to get your pilot fully integrated into the suit, you won't have a functioning automaton just yet. Smithy's pretty close to having something that can is like articulated and stuff. But with the designs that you two are working with and the sort of magical familiar plan that you have invested in, he doesn't have any means to power the thing until you have Keen ready to go.
I got it. Then I did have one more idea.
Okay.
I want to use my tinkering skills sorry, it's basically two things. I want to help everybody else in their endeavors in order to make it easier. But on my off time, I want to be able to make a glove that can hold one of those salamander hearts.
Ooh, okay. So a hyper resistant glove, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got it.
Because it might not be key to powering the automaton, but it's definitely key in adding some cool fiery effects to some spells, maybe. It affects Keen. I want to see what it does to things like my mage hand, or if I can use it as a weapon.
Okay.
That would be really
got
cool.
it. Got it. Okay. So Ooh, loud motorcycle. I think then what's going to happen is a lot of the first couple of weeks of getting to Shose, it's a lot of people moving around, getting the obelisk put together. Everybody's doing working on their projects and stuff. You, Albus, I assume have been spending a decent amount of time with Smithy as he is uh, perhaps helping him pack his things and get ready to move shop once again. Um,
Most definitely, especially after ordering my new tools from the guild. I've been trying to learn from him either just by watching or showing off.
yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck does this
Um,
thing do?
no, no, oh wait, you can touch that one. That's fine. It won't hurt you. But you raised the idea of the glove, and I mean, basically, this would end up in a situation where, at worst, you could make a just a big ass mitten, and I mean that's the kind of thing a blacksmith would just use normally. Um, but I'm guessing you want something a little more wieldy than that.
Most definitely, most definitely. Like maybe even holding on to the orb is a little much. Like maybe employing it as like a part of a fixture of the device.
Yeah,
Oh,
some
so
kind
put
of
the orb into the mitten, like build it in somehow.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
or some
I,
kind of scepter even,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. The scepter would be interesting. Having it on my person, I like the idea of that. Being able to slap a motherfucker with this. Or use it for tools. There's a lot that could be done with with a mitten bracer.
Bracer, right? Yeah. This may be something that amounts to another quest for Alvis Taver, because I believe we are currently very low on salamander scales. That is, we don't have any more to make new flame retardant material, correct? Or heat
Correct.
resistant.
Yeah, I don't know if we have it. Yeah, okay.
Um, so uh, the situation is sort of um you could do that. Obviously, there's the heavy acid uh potential that you can sort of use to crystallize this thing, according to Soriana and her claims, anyway. Um, or there's the maybe if you could get something resistant, like a another batch of salamander scale, or something equally sturdy, then you could make something lightweight but still able to repel that heat from your skin. Um,
Yes,
this
definitely all
this
good
could
ideas, but
this could
I need
lend
to
to
get
some
this.
sort of contraption where you can actually wear this on.
I like the idea of that. I need to gather some stuff to make it.
Yeah, yeah, it's a difficult batch of ingredients to have just lying around.
No, no, absolutely.
But this is something that can be worked on soon. So Irenaeus, what would you like to do?
Well, she's no good at dealing with running water, but she is good at moving some, moving anything and everything. Um,
Sure.
so probably where her strong suit lies is helping build the aqueducts.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
because there's
there's
going to be
definitely
a lot of stone that needs hauling, but you know,
yeah, there's
spots
definitely
where
a
you need to
few
build it.
spots in the existing aqueduct structure that could be that does need some rebuilding uh as it's eroded over the centuries.
Yeah,
For the
Yeah,
most part there
you have not only that, but you have ones where the foundation of the aqueduct might be
yeah.
cracked and leaking in a way that's small enough to not be noticeable, except that we can't keep water in it. So somebody who knows something about foundations and kind of structural integrity would be super handy.
So how good is Ernest at engineering?
um, I mean, it's more the basic stuff that she's good at, like the track building and the um,
Right. Okay.
like,
So she teams up with the engineers and then says, "Tell me where to go."
yeah, like
Okay.
how much of this mixture do I need to spread on, this cracked bit of foundation to make it so that it stops the leak but doesn't affect the water flow?
Yeah.
That sort of deal.
I imagine she's pretty fast about all of this sort of thing too. Like
Um,
I'm envisioning a relatively tireless uh woman.
yeah, she's basically start to end, just kind of going. Um, the only, I mean, yeah, I don't quite know what the other, I don't quite recall what the other projects were. As far
Okay,
as,
so there's a
Helping decks,
yeah, that Dex was the aqueduct, right?
fortifications, possibly building an inner wall, and defenses. And then figuring out either the scouting, digging, something or other about the getting into the northeast section of Shose, which is now open.
yeah,
Okay.
the whole northeast section of Chose is pretty much buried in sand. So there's definitely a lot of interest in trying to get in there and one, making it so that the commission's new base doesn't get buried in sand. And two, potentially getting in there and seeing if some stuff can be excavated.
Gotcha. Okay. I think knowing that then, sorry, the aqueduct stuff was what I was focusing on when
Oh, no worries.
you mentioned it before, and then I kind of got distracted. Um, Knowing all of this, then I think she will have at least a familiarity with uncovering stuff in sand, in the sense that like how far away from sand is snow. Um, uh, they can't be
There
that
can be
different.
some overlap here. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so she's got some experience there, and so long as she's not in the sun too long, I suppose, um, it wouldn't be too bad to start like little by little uncovering buildings,
Okay.
uncovering roads.
Yeah. So even already, as you are, like as after the first week, um, Dex is putting the finishing touches on the obelisk so that people can actually start moving in here, and you can stay here over the duration of the redshift and everything.
Mm.
Um, but even before that, now that the wall is gone and this rain cloud has been effectively removed, um, you're noticing as you approach. Obviously, you didn't really get the chance to walk around it a whole lot previously, but
Yeah.
um, right where the grassland meets the sand, it has already become sort of this um, just thanks to the existence of rain, this uh, rough slurry of mud, um, and mixing with the dry sand and blowing over itself and uh, coagulating all over the border here. This is a very strange environmental phenomenon because there's no natural barrier here at all other than the mountains. Um, it's just one day all of a sudden these two completely different biomes suddenly began intersecting. Um, so
Hopefully, the storm weather will calm down at that intersection. But theoretically, after a couple of weeks, it should have calmed down enough.
yeah, it's definitely like there's not really that huge air pressure difference anymore that
Okay.
you experienced at first. That's sort
I
of
do
evened out.
I do think it will probably take about a year for the microclimate
Yeah.
to shift into something that is no longer desert, but is, maybe a bit of a agricultural scrubland coming down from the mountains kind of thing, where it starts greening up and greening up. But that'll take a while.
Yeah, that's the kind of long-term druid shit.
I'm
You can
working
help.
on it.
You can help it along, yeah. Um, which is better than most people in the world can do.
Help it grow,
Um,
Krista.
so yeah, Irenaeus, that's kind of what you are experiencing and sort of helping people dig through around this area.
Okay.
Now, are you looking for anything specific in the northeastern city, or just kind of looking for anything interesting, spotting any,
I well, I guess now let me just spitball for a moment here.
Sure.
So what we expect to uncover when we're excavating a whole city is infrastructure like roads, wells.
Yeah, it's kind of like for the most part, a lot of the city that is adjacent to the clear area is kind of half buried. So like you have the
Okay,
impressions
so you
of
can
roads
kind
and
of see stuff,
alleyways.
but you don't know
Um,
the fine details at street level.
yeah, and you can definitely identify like individual buildings and whatnot, and like where everything is roughly located.
Okay.
Um,
Now, is there enough sand where it's like 2 or 3 story buildings are half buried, or is
you're
it
you're
like
seeing more. It's more like maybe a good depending on the location, obviously, you're getting like 5 to 10 averages, of depth. 5 to 10
Feet?
feet. Feet, yeah,
feet?
sorry.
Okay.
Oh shit. Okay,
Okay, so that's pretty substantial.
that is.
But it's not like,
Insurmountable.
oh, we'll uncover a whole building because like this mound is a mound of sand. Um, but I guess in doing the small piecemeal stuff, excavating mostly what residential homes or businesses, or like I guess anything that after the first month or so, maybe a week or two. I'm not quite sure how fast you expect everything to go.
Oh, that's okay, yeah, you've got this whole time span, really.
Yeah, everything after like that first. All right, so we've uncovered like between 5 and 10 things.
Yeah,
Now, what starts to look not out of place, but unfamiliar?
okay, so
And that might just be like, oh, this used to be an armory or a barracks or whatever. Or it could be like this well has weird side passages in it for some reason. Um,
so
but yeah,
so there's a couple things that you find, and one of the things that you notice really early on is, there are several buildings that are mostly buried. But when you approach them and you sort of climb on top of them to survey, or climb on top of like a nearby ladder or mound, um, you are able to notice that several of these buildings have a chunk of their roof missing, and it's not missing in a way like it's eroded by 1,000 years, and bits and pieces started to fall off, and the roof has collapsed. Um,
Oh, they're air draft holes.
well, there are like almost square cutouts in a lot of these roofs, and the Vestian style of building is often squat and flat with flat roofs.
Okay.
Um, so
But if this was on the edge of a desert before, like if there was a wooden structure in this square hole that was used to capture wind as it blew through town, that that would make that a lot of
well,
sense.
yes. Now you were informed by Arisa that, or maybe grandmother, that Vesoth did not have a desert previously.
Ah, okay.
Um,
I just didn't.
but
I didn't know if that was. Is Shose the capital of Vesoth? Do we know that?
no,
Okay.
Ves is.
Vest.
Um, but Chose, from the information you've been told, was a very notable city because it basically owned the valley that allowed you to cross the mountain range, which is, as you have all learned, pretty difficult to do otherwise around here.
Yeah.
Um, so this was a massive road,
Yeah, trade
between
asset.
anything to the west and anything going up to Vest, the capital, or any of the other cities on the eastern side.
Yeah, this is
Um,
pretty much Silk Road, as far as I can tell.
That's what it sounds like.
so yeah, it's a pretty big city, and there's probably more buildings in this city than you would have time to excavate in your current career. But the bits that you can do on a day-to-day basis are, well, again, back to the ones that have the roofs cut up. Um, wooden attached structures might be your first guess, but what you actually notice is that the destruction is not neatly done. It's broken in a lot of parts. I described these holes as roughly square, but you can sort of tell that it was almost done by something, as though you had taken a sledgehammer and pounded it open yourself.
Oh.
Um,
Huh.
and you can find, in these openings, there's some evidence of the sand around them and inside some of these buildings being excavated already.
Huh. So was
Huh.
this like an archaeological site before
Yeah.
whatever
Was
happened?
this? Did Shose
No.
itself? I guess did someone else start to uncover this stuff? Could it have been the Dragonling line family lineage? Whatever.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking for what it's worth.
What were they looking for?
I don't even know if it was necessarily anything they were looking for. It could have just been they needed like a sturdy place to store stuff. So they just cut holes in buildings and used the mostly flooded buildings for
Could be they were using
like
some
good
sort of
storage.
sand burrowing.
Could also have been an entirely different person or group of people.
Come
That's
to
true.
think of it, salamanders can burrow through the ground and make those lava holes. I don't suppose there's any evidence of melting in.
Well, really, the only evidence of melting you've seen in the city is that one spot. What?
Is me. I'm melting. It's very hot.
uh, that one spot where in the southwest half, right up against the wall, where there was a sort of hemicircle of melted flagstones, as though somebody had tried to uh, blast a hole through the glass wall and failed to do so, and had some collateral damage on the ground below. Um, that has been there since you guys first discovered this place and explored it. But you don't find on the northeastern half. You don't actually find any real evidence of melting or burning, really. Um, you find several of these buildings that have been pre-excavated, and obviously there's still a lot of looking around that you and your cohorts can do. Um, but that's probably the most notable thing, at least at first.
Okay. So this will take a while as a mystery to uncover.
Yeah. Um, there might be a little bit more you can find in the whole 3 months that you have, but
Yeah.
Montlarin, what do you want to do?
I'm going to be focused pretty much entirely on bolstering the defenses.
Okay. Uh, so yeah, there's a good amount of stuff that needs to happen here because as you know, the obelisks have a range of a radius of a couple hundred feet, right? So that covers a good amount of city space. There's a lot of buildings that you can kind of appropriate for yourselves, and definitely get like a at least one of the aqueducts can kind of intersect with your safe zone, so that ideally, if this stuff gets working, you guys will have access to water. Um, but the brigadier's plan, kind of going into this, has been well, the city already has a wall on encircling it the whole way. Um, Obviously, it's kind of a mess here and there, but it's kind of mostly intact. But her secondary plan, or her real plan to like fortify, is she suggested say we put the obelisk right in the center of the city, right where we have that open square where you all camped out that one time. Um, that would give you a good perimeter, and then you could use all of the existing buildings sort of as pre-existing wall structure. So you could, for example, if you have where you have roads and
Right.
alleyways, you could kind of bolster
Barricade
these up,
those, right.
barricade them, barricade the windows and doors if needed, um, and potentially even use these buildings as part of the base as long as they're contained within the safe radius. But just have them boarded up and kind of on the edges so they would be part of this wall. Um, and sort of generate that kind of structure around the inner city that would be developing here. And yeah, Montlarin, if you want to get involved in that, it's going to be a whole lot of probably digging sand, moving bricks and wood, boarding shit up, making sure like these buildings are all clear and nothing is creeping around in them.
When I'm not poking about my projects, you'll see me helping you out a little bit.
Nice.
Right on. Yeah, that's definitely my plan then. I also kind of want to take like an eye to where ballista emplacements might go, just anything I can to apply the knowledge that I have having, been a squire to make this more effective.
Oh, well, what does Mount Lauren think about the potential for ballistic defenses? Because Smithy has been on that as his primary task lately, and he thinks he could probably get a few of these built in the time span that you all have in this transitionary period.
You
Um,
definitely be seeing me around then because I've been helping Smitty as recompense for him teaching me and stuff.
Right, right. Yeah, so I think the ballista are a good idea, but I'm worried that our sight lines are bad in the middle of the city. Like
that's
uh
true.
I worry that we're going to have to make towers to place them to get better sight lines, and that may be an effort that we're not prepared for.
Well, maybe we can combine the efforts of both walling off particular approaches, right, so that we can control the sight lines and in fact create them just by
Right, absolutely.
Likewise, on the same sort of thinking, using sort of naturally already built places, I do want to see like where the aqueducts are fed from, because that might be a good location to either build a tower or have some like regularly switched out guards in place, because a ballista might not be able to shoot all the way from to protect the city from up there, but it's a good position. It might be great for scouting, for other things like that.
Right, like something Montlarn would have made clear is that when it comes to like infantry, the ballista are not going to be as useful as they will be against flying opponents and potentially, say, a dragon.
Yeah, and that's kind of the main thing here. The thought behind these is, well, the reason walls have ballistae uh nowadays is because it makes a dragon at least think once about
potentially
whether they're going
survivable, right?
Right.
to uh decide to drop on this city. I mean, they definitely prefer to drop on one that doesn't have aerial weapons. Um, so knowing that there is the potential threat of a dragon, having a base level of deterrence is like something very important to have.
Right.
But then, as far as infantry and stuff goes, yeah, if you suggest your idea of like uh walling off specific like roadways and stuff, even outside of the obelisk's protection, just to like funnel potential invaders down a particular path.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, the brigadier thinks that's an excellent idea. It would definitely take a lot of extra work, but there's plenty of people around to get involved in that, and Montlarn, and if Ambergreen wants to get involved, could definitely kind of spearhead a sort of direction for that.
I was gonna say
Perfect.
I have that stone sense, like construction stone sort of knowledge.
That might be hella useful in figuring out where the
where the walls go.
Well, not just that, but where the aqueducts are fed from, because maybe some of the parts of this system have been so weathered away, like especially up near the mountains where we think it's being fed from. Some of this stuff might be so worn away that it looks like it's part of the mountain. We might need a trained eye to like,
True.
yeah, to peek that out.
Yeah, you do know that these aqueducts, they do stretch north and south toward the mountains, outside of the city. I mean, you were even able to sort of follow them out before the glass wall was removed when you were exploring the nearby area.
So yeah, I have that. It doesn't describe it there, but I do have that word.
Advantage on history checks, I believe, is the one.
I think it is.
So yeah, okay. Then we will get to that on your turn. Naya, I guess technically Ambergreen should have been second, but he hasn't changed his Discord name. So, Naya, you're up next. What do you want to do?
Well, in your list of the 5 things,
Yeah.
what you didn't mention was the thing that I've been focused on, which is the terraforming with regard to trees and the shifting of the microclimate around Shose.
Right. So I assume that at some point you would have had the opportunity to talk to grandmother about this.
Well, you'll have to tell me when that is and how that went, because I didn't know that. So I have, like, for right now, I have changed Naya's skills around
Yeah.
so that she can control water. She can create water, but she can also find plants. She can talk to plants, and all those things that have to do with how do we fix Shose to be livable for humans,
So
or humans and dragonkind and all the rest of us.
you know that like dryads are good at this sort of thing, right? Like they don't really move, but the places that they do sit, they are able to make flourish extremely.
Well, that's why I
Um
figured that I would be involved with grandmother's grandchildren, great
yeah,
grandchildren, whatever they are.
that was sort of why she had made that offer. Obviously, she's had to take some time to talk with them about it and prepare them for this. But she explains to you that these two have sort of uh, in the past year or two that they've been um, around. Kapua is almost 2 years old at this point. They have displayed a um, affinity for the sort of stuff that she also does. She's quick to clarify that these children are not dryads. Um, her
What are
kind is
they?
a different thing entirely. She honestly doesn't really have a name for them. They're not something that she knows.
Okay.
Um, it she says where you brought the first seed from um a forest that had been affected by the redshift, and you brought it here, and I helped it uh grow along and become healthy. So uh in that sense there may have been some nurturing to its nature on my part. um but these children perhaps may be uh creatures born out of the redshift completely. Um, but
Okay. So
they
we don't
have
really know what we're dealing with, is what you're saying.
they have though at least in her grove where they've been living for the past year or two, they have displayed a great affinity for the sort of stuff that she does.
Okay.
Um, she says they've they've helped keep the forest healthy. Even Capua has recently started venturing out to distant reaches outside of the grove proper when the redshift is no longer in effect. Um, they're they've been able to prevent blights from taking root. They've helped the creatures of the forest live and be safe. They've even brought redshift afflicted um, creatures to me to be cured. She still does that sometimes. It's a lot less common now that she
Right.
has a safe area, but you know, she can't help occasionally finding a afflicted creature and helping it.
Yep.
Um and she says they've even both grown their own lyre out of wood and taken to playing it together.
Cute.
Um so I think if they're ready to uh branch out between you and your uh creative apothecary friend that I've heard about and their abilities, you may be able to make this transformation happen um quickly.
Okay.
And while you are gone, Naya, as I know you are close to the head of this organization and spend much of your time exploring, the children could protect the things that you have grown while you're gone.
Okay. I guess I have a couple of practical questions, utility type questions.
Okay.
And they are primarily, am I a subordinate to them or are we a team?
We're a team, Naya.
Okay, but is there
I
a leader of that team or am I subordinate to them?
They are children, so
Okay.
they will listen to you.
All
If
right.
uh they they are both very sensitive.
Okay.
But
All right.
I trust that you have a gentle hand.
Yes, I just need to understand kind of the roles before I even start.
I think if you give them a directed task, they will fall into it in their own way, and their efficacy may surprise you.
Yeah, okay. The second question is, how will they travel from Grandmother's Grove down to Shose? It's a long journey.
It will be a first. Uh, your Captain Lyra here has offered to who's been staying here for some time now, since you all shut down the nearby keep. Um, she has offered to arrange transport for the children. So um,
Okay. I'd like to
I'm
make sure that they have an escort.
I'm told that they should that that particular caravan should take about 2 or 3 weeks to make it all the way to your city.
Okay.
Um,
Do they understand that until we can get an obelisk in place at Chaussee and make it a safe place for everyone, that we will go do as much as we can in 3 or 4 days and then have to leave.
yes, and you will have the obelisk done before those two are even there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I should have asked that first.
it with the preparations that have been underway, it will not take Dex long at all to get a new one set up.
Right, but you did say it would be several weeks.
Several weeks of work to finish the whole fort.
No, you said several weeks to get an obelisk in place.
If I did, I spoke wrong.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right. So
I
I
mean
was
that you
thinking it
have
was going to be several trips back and forth before we even have an obelisk, so that we have to like hurry up and get stuff done in 3 or 4 days and then go.
you can certainly take trips back and forth though. In fact, if you would like to go meet the children at one of the other locations, perhaps at Castus or something, uh,
That
Naya,
might be a good idea.
you could absolutely go and like fetch them and
All
meet them
right.
the rest of the way.
So we'll see. And that would help because then I'd have a chance to meet them and create a relationship and stuff.
Okay, let's do it. So Naya, you split from the rest of the group, from RSS Tower to
Careful.
Castus, and
Wait.
sure,
Am
yeah,
I
yeah.
going to
Take
Grandmother's
care.
Grove? Hush you. Am I going to Grandmother's Grove right now?
So the plan is, the children are going to go to Orvis. They're going to go through Orvis, and then they're going to go north. Uh, unless you have a better idea. It's perhaps not the most efficient path from the Grove to Chose, but there are known paths and roads at this point, that make that a little bit safer.
Hmm. Okay, I had it in my head that it was going to be a while. So, um,
Oh, no worries. You might even be able to meet them at Orvis yourself, and then take them the rest of the way.
okay.
But yeah, you do have to make this sort of hopping motion between redshifts from obelisk to obelisk as usual.
Right. Um, okay, so my plan up until this particular little monkey wrench happened
Uh-huh.
was to go to Shose and immediately start on um, working with Nimbus on the aqueducts and
Okay.
actually creating the water to fill them so we can see where the leaks are, maybe, so we get some idea what works, what doesn't work, what has to be fixed, what needs another look from an engineer. And then at the same time, during that 3 or 4 day period, because that's all we have between redshifts,
Yeah.
then is to begin the cultivating, talking to the plants, and cultivating the growth. So I figured I would save all my spell slots for either controlling water, creating water if needed, but then also encouraging growth
Well,
and doing those
depending
other
on how you
things.
do it, you might not, you might even need a little bit more prep time because if you get in touch with Soriana um, about this whole thing, she has already been um, provisioning the sorts of things that you might need for this in the form of uh, she has specifically put in an order for very young acacia trees to be shipped in because by her idea, and maybe Naya, you might have had some involvement in this plan. Um, something like a tree that thrives in a dry environment um, would be ideal for this because then you'd be able to make that sort of barrier with them and sort of greenify the area relatively quickly and without too much extra work on your part, just encouraging them to grow. Uh, so it will take a couple of weeks for her to get those in from the Empire, uh, but that is her plan at least. You can certainly do other stuff yourself too. Um,
Okay, well,
I guess it's kind of up to you if you want to spend the first few weeks in Chose or if you want to go elsewhere and do
I kind of
other
figured
stuff.
that I would immediately set out for Shose, and I figured that we all were headed that direction. If that's wrong, then I can,
Oh
you
no,
know,
I mean
adjust. But
we have this whole time span, and you are free to move as you wish during that time span. So
okay, well,
I'm just working with you here to figure
that's
out
what I
what
figured I
exactly.
would do is go to Shose and begin the not just figurative groundwork, but literal groundwork.
Yes.
Because if I and I have already changed and prepared the spell to talk to plants, so I can talk to the plants about where the water is. And we can save time about finding where's the water from the mountains. So we're going
Yes.
to need some scouts or whatever to go find that. But in the
No.
meantime,
Okay.
then I can talk to the plants about, okay, so what do you need to be able to actually move this way? And show them I want you to come down here. Can you do that? Why not? That
Okay.
kind of conversation.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. So okay. So we'll go with then Naya is going to stay in Chose from the start and just wait for these things and people to be delivered to her.
Okay, or I can
I mean, I'm
shift it around, but it's kind of that was my plan was to at least get that started because I figured I could do that in the 3 or 4 days that we have before we have to head out
yeah,
because of the
yeah.
redshift.
It's totally up to you which version of these events you want to do. Uh, or if you only want to spend a couple days talking to plants and then turn around and go back to Castus to pick up the kids, that works too. Like I said, you've got 7 red shifts.
7?
Yeah,
Oh
3
shit.
months.
Okay, so that's kind of what I was thinking was that there was this fairly long time span. I mean that's like 4 or 5 months.
It is almost exactly 3 months, and in terms of usable outside days, it's like uh 15, 20. It's like 30 days total.
Right. So anyway, all right. Well, I may change things depending on how it goes with the plants, but that's my plan. Was to go and talk to the plants immediately and find out what we
Okay.
can to
Well,
shorten the whole searching for water with some freaking dowsing rod thing. It's like let's talk to the plants and find out what they know.
there are some hardy trees in the city. Um a
Right.
couple of them were snapped apart by that giant glass creature,
Yep.
unfortunately. But there are still plenty of them standing. There are a couple points even where you imagine what must have been a small park has become wildly overgrown uh, on the southwest side of the wall.
Right.
Um, and out and about outside the wall, like you're not in the big forest proper that surrounds RSS Tower anymore. It's sort of a flat, and even while the wall was up, it was kind of a dry-ish grassland in this area. Um,
Yeah, kind of like a scrubland.
sort of uh like the biome that would lead directly into a scrubland, right?
Okay.
Just going from a temperate forest into that sort of environment. So there are plenty of trees and bushes and shrubs and whatnot around, and you could talk to any one of them. And I mean, really, the information that you get from them is they're quite content where they are. They have lived here for a long time, plenty of years in some cases. Um, there's plenty of water, and if you talk to them about moving into a desert or to the edge of the desert, um, they'll tell you that moving is difficult. But there's some trepidation about what this desert means for their kind and their potential offspring.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um, so I guess, is there anything more specific that you're looking for from them?
Am I having that conversation with them right now?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Mostly what I'd like to do first is create a relationship. Hello, we're from way over there, and um, we'd like to make this a place that is habitable for um,
These are
sentient
trees.
beings.
They're very sleepy creatures when it comes to magically understanding.
Okay, that's fine. But
Yeah,
we're from way over there, and we want to create a nice place here for a habitat. We also want to make sure that it's a good place for you and your kind.
yeah. I mean, and they're often very cooperative too, is what I was going to add to that. Um,
Okay.
they're sort of malleable entities. So
Oh, I didn't know if they would be like Ents.
no, not quite. They're not really quite that. I mean, you're talking to something with less intelligence than the average like wild pig, right? So take that and then scale it down a whole lot further.
I figured the
Um
trees would be better than a wild pig, but okay.
they are older, I suppose.
Okay. That's fine. They're probably not used to anybody talking to them either or
No,
listening
yeah.
listening to anything they have to say. Um, okay, so the first thing was
I mean,
establishing a relationship. What?
I figured that they'd be freaking out right now. Jesus Christ, what the hell is going on? I can understand and what are these senses? I've never had sense. What
Well,
witchcraft?
she's just casting speak with
Yeah,
animals,
I
not
know.
awaken.
I
No,
know.
no, no. I'm casting
Or casting speak with plants, sorry.
speak with plants. Yes, but
Awaken
also,
though, that would be a fun one to use at some point.
it's kind of like, hi, we're gonna be around. We're gonna be around from here on out. I just want you to know that, so it doesn't take you by surprise. We would like to make sure that this is a habitable place for our kind and is also safe for you and your kind and your families.
Yeah,
Um,
and just for reference, so plants that you talk to like this, they generally have like knowledge about stuff in the past day. Um,
Okay.
but if you're talking to like a an old tree, you might be able to get a sense of like what's normal for the tree, right? Versus
Well, that was going to
abnormal.
be my next question.
Yeah.
Like, do you have enough water? Do you have any idea how far your roots go in order to find water? Do you
Um,
know what direction they go?
well, they would say that they're overall you find that the plants in this area, and you can definitely talk to several of them, are quite content with the way things have been. I mean, they get plenty of water. They don't need a huge amount of water, but there's plenty of sun in this area. The weather is um quite manageable. Even as it is getting late into the year, and they are starting to turn orange and brown. Um, that's normal, and
Okay. Could
the
you, sir, could you ping on the map where are these trees that we're talking to?
all over the place around, like right around the grasslands out here. So like wherever you'd want to be close to the city,
Okay, so
you can find stuff.
this area here, like right there,
Yeah.
is that grass or is that grass with a couple of trees or what is that?
Um, yeah, so, it's kind of,
I figured it was scrub because it's
flat
coming down
space.
the hill.
Indeed, a lot of scrub, but also, scattered trees here and there. It's not like a forest by any means, but,
No, I
there
would
are
expect forest though, where I see trees to the
yeah,
west. Is that right?
there are standing trees here and there, around this area.
Okay, but mostly it's scrub,
Yeah.
scrubby. Is the soil sand or dirt
Here
or
it's
a
dirt.
mix? Okay,
Yeah, as you get further southwest, it's definitely dirt, and like the direct border where that glass wall used to be has rapidly turned into sort of a mud, uh, just from the new moisture that's joined. But
good.
also
That that
you have
was
it.
the idea.
Yeah, you also have it like redrying and like blowing over into the grassland. So already like the sand has started kind of like creeping out, but then getting like turning into a sort of almost mudslide during certain weather, and then drying out again and blowing over. So there's this back and forth happening right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of to be expected as the weather changes. I expect eventually that the sand will be completely covered by dirt, but I don't know. There's a lot of sand here, and especially further east, so we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah,
Um, so they have enough water. So that would be one of the conversations is um, how, that would be one of the questions. How deep do the roots have to go to find water? And which direction do they extend? Do they go west? Do they go north? I'm trying to use what they know, the rudimentary things about where they source water, in order to send explorers or scouts go find water here.
got it. Yeah. So mostly what you find is they get a lot of rainwater or plenty of rainwater. But anything extra is really going to be coming from whatever mountain they're closest to. So whichever side of the city they're on, right? Um, so the ones on the southern side would tell you that you know, uh, groundwater from the southern mountains is what they use, and the ones from the northern side would tell you groundwater from the northern mountains is what's used. Um, so this is definitely something
Um,
that still happens, but there's no
do they have enough knowledge, self knowledge, and ability to communicate what an entire cycle looks like for them? Like,
not
do
not really.
they have a shortage of water in the summer?
Um, yeah, they don't really have like the capacity for much more than a day of info. Um,
Okay.
but they would tell you that they don't have a shortage of water right now, and even as you're talking to them, it is like when you're first talking to them, it is kind of just getting off of the end of summer. So, um, or I guess we're a few weeks into fall at this point. Um, but that at least might indicate to you that nothing seems to have been amiss here previously.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, you may be able to transplant some of these plants if you want to. I mean, that's definitely some effort that you could take, especially with some help.
Well, the other
Um,
thing is I was looking at using there's one that's something like encourage growth,
oh yeah,
where
yeah,
I could
just plant growth you can
just right,
boost.
and it's like picking a spot that is, whatever the range is. It's not going to be very big, but I kind of expect that with concerted effort over time, see all this yellow around the area where it says Shose,
Yeah,
I would expect to turn green.
yeah.
I mean, that's my plan,
you
unless
can
the trees are
encourage
telling me that's impossible.
you can encourage the shrubs and the grasses and the trees to sort of take root, and you can plant new ones and help them grow, and again take root. I think it's the you have two choices with plant growth. It's one like really small area, and then another one's
Right.
like a mile radius or something.
Yes, and it lasts over time.
Can you drop the spell into the chat?
Yeah, let me get it. Almost did the wrong thing. Just a second.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, character sheets, right? Roll 20.
I think that's the one.
Oh, they changed the UI. It looks better. Let's see. Oh, not really. No, actually, it looks terrible on
Yeah,
the right
it's
side
pretty
there.
horrible now. My character
Boy.
sheet looks pretty messed up.
Oh no, really?
Yeah. The dividers between the spell level.
Yeah, they're kind of
Oh,
hosed. Yes.
great, good.
Okay,
It's
so
very crunchy.
it's the one at the bottom paragraph there. If you cast this spell over 8 hours, you enrich the land. All plants become enriched for a year. I'm not looking at them yielding
Yeah.
twice the normal amount of food, but
No,
what
that's
I'm
fine.
looking at is just growing and expanding and, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Can we do that? I
Oh,
mean,
it's
it doesn't really say that.
the thick and overgrown version.
Yeah, but that's only 100 feet at a time.
Yeah. So
That's still a large area.
that is a pretty large area.
To be overgrown?
And it's a 100-foot radius even.
But
So
even I think just enriching like the regular
you
flora.
could even pair these up. You could do a couple casts of the low level one where it's just like make some stuff become super overgrown. Um, and then you can cast the 8 hour one after that for everything that you just did, enrich that overgrowth and make it even more sturdy, right?
And since this is a level 3 spell, remember you have your 3 and 4 slots you can cast it with. You're going to get 7 long rests worth plus the long.
Yeah, so I
You
think
can
in
cast
the
this quite a few times.
in the beginning you could tap it, 3, 4, 5 times. Kind of one or the other, and then
Yeah,
come back in the next 10 days and do it again, but maybe do the other one.
yeah, exactly.
And just kind of flip flop it back and forth until you've
Okay.
got some kind of
Um,
it really encouraged growth to happen so that we could actually think about seeing the map change in front of our eyes. And that's
so
kind of my plan.
Naya, you are working primarily outside the cities to start.
Well, I'm at the edge there.
Yeah, yeah, like outside the city walls, right where the grass
Yeah.
meets the sand at
Yeah,
the
because I need to
yeah.
talk to the trees. I need to get that
Okay.
info because then we need to have a party sent out, a scout party sent out looking for water. One should go north, the other should go south.
Yeah. So I think what you're able to do is for the first 3 weeks, you're able to alternatively cast this spell in either way to sort of you know, the first the first like mile of space on either side of the city, you're sort of able to shore up with this overgrowth.
Okay.
And what you can do is obviously you'd be bringing forth sprouts and such of shrubs and little trees that were perhaps seeded in the area, and sort of um, basically making a small wall of greenery. Um, Obviously, perhaps not all of them will survive
No, and we're
being
coming
directly
into
next to the
winter. This
sand.
is not the optimal time for this, you know?
Um, Although
But
that does mean the desert heat might be less of a problem too.
mhm.
Um,
Sand will hold heat, that's for sure.
yeah,
Also gets rid of it really fast too.
yeah. Uh, but you are able to form this sort of wall, um, and you do this for a few weeks, and eventually you get the expected delivery of a uh, couple of wagons full of very young, like acacia trees,
Okay.
that are ready to be planted. And also on the same wagon are the two children.
Cool. Okay.
Um,
Well, so I didn't use my time super well that way, but we got other things done, so
no, I mean that's okay. Yeah, you've started the process already. Um,
is there some evidence that it's actually working and it's happening?
well, I mean it's going to take a long time. You were right about that. But at the very least, you're able to see that these plants are sort of taking root, and like with your guidance, um, in the spot where the land is connecting into the desert, right?
Mhm.
Um, so they are able to survive there, and you know that if given enough time, eventually that sort of ecosystem that is being built there will help turn this sand into dirt and mud. Um,
Well, and it'll certain plants that need a lot of drainage in the soil will do really well with sand.
yeah,
You know, it's like some need density, some don't.
yeah. Um,
Okay.
so when the two children arrive, you know they have their escort, and I believe they know you, right? I think, have you met them, Naya, in
No,
person or
no,
only over the intercom?
only over the
Who
whatever
who was on the team
brainwaves.
that did the rescue when the one ran away?
That was
That
some of our
wasn't.
retired group. Yes.
Yeah, that
Uh
wasn't me.
well, they see a silver dragonborn, and they well, actually, Naya, I would assume you'd probably go be greeting them yourself, right?
Yes, I would.
Unless you're super
Soon as I
sharp
see the
like yourself.
wagon and the kids, but what am I even looking at, sir? What do they look like?
They are they look similar to the
Good
creatures
blood.
that the seeds
Right.
seeds were taken from. They're sort of a human shaped bundles of um boughs and twigs and roots and
So they
leaves,
are they a
and
walking tree, basically?
not really a walking tree. More like more like if if you grew a plant whose fruit took the shape of a person.
Like a topiary?
Um, a little bit, but less leafy. They have like distinct solid shapes that are made out of these roots and like leaf layers layered together.
Okay.
They are definitely roughly child-sized, as suggested, and
Oh, yeah. Like what the picture that Nimbus posted?
uh, very similar to that. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, at least now I have some sense of what am I talking to.
Yeah. Also, I hope you're okay if
Fine. I'm
you injured
fine. When we
yourself.
get a break,
Okay.
I'll go to the bathroom and take a look at it.
Okay. Um. So the other thing is they don't have mouths.
I don't what?
They don't have mouths. Um.
So how do we communicate?
So
Telepathy?
they the so one of them is green and one of them is more of a brown color. And you have been informed that the green one is Capua, the oldest, and the brown one is Macau, the younger one.
And how do I spell
Um
those names?
Here, I'll put it in.
Thank you.
So
Green is Capua.
yes. Um and Capua, the eldest, seems to be the one most able to take the lead. Um so they when you go to greet them, they sign at you. Now, does Naya know Farabian Sign Language?
No, she doesn't. She can speak Sylvan, but since they don't speak, I have no idea what we're gonna do. She is good at telepathy.
They don't have innate telepathy. Um, do you have telepathy?
Well, no, but she's good at it. It comes with the territory.
Got it. Okay. Um, so
Don't ask
in
any hard questions, sir.
unless you are 100% certain that Naya that you don't want Naya to know this, you can actually do an intelligence roll to inform us of whether Naya
Well,
knows.
it's let's say it is not in my list of languages.
No, no,
That's
no. But
really, really specific.
you have common though, so
Yeah, I have common.
she may know the corresponding sign language.
So do I need to do an intelligence check?
Yeah, I would just want an intelligence check to see if she has
Oh
learned that.
shit. Okay. Well, that's not going to go anywhere.
11 is a uh mostly nope.
Uh-huh.
Obviously she knows enough to recognize it, and can maybe get a hello out of it. Um, but the
You didn't mention this particular challenge when we were talking, sir. I'm going to remember this.
um Yeah, no, you thinking back, you realize grandmother didn't mention it at all. But the people escorting them are people who are able to sign properly. So they're able to translate for you for now. And when you bring them to the brigadier, she also does the same.
Right. These poor
So
kids. It's so unfair.
So you're able to communicate with them just fine for now, as long as you have someone around to help you.
I can wave for hello, smile for I'm glad to see you.
But the brigadier says, well, they're mute. They can still hear you, Naya. They just
Okay.
can't talk.
Okay.
Um, but she says, you're kind of running the show as far as plant growth goes around here. What should they do?
Well, why don't we just kind of walk around where I've done the work that I've done. Um, I'm afraid I won't may not understand if what they have to offer and the feedback. Oh, I wish I had known this.
Okay, I'll take a walk with you. So you and the brigadier and the two children go.
But you said the
And
brigadier doesn't sign either, right?
no, I said she does.
Oh, okay.
So she's able to communicate with them just fine, and she can help you.
Okay, cool. All right, so we go over there to the areas where I've um, been working for a couple weeks or the last couple months.
And
And
so the children seem very interested in the plant life that you have created so far, and Papua asks, grandmother told us we were going to um, hold back the desert. Um, do you need us to make these grow bigger, wider, or farther?
that's a good question. Um, Sir, in terms of this opening here where it says Shose on the map,
Yeah.
can you ping like an area where the work that has been done so far is? Is it all along where the glass wall was, or has it gone into Shose, or what has happened so
Um,
far?
well, if you want to have brought it into the city proper, that's fine. There's definitely already some plant life in there too. Otherwise, I was figuring you had started at the city wall and kind of gone along the line for however long,
Okay.
potentially in both directions or maybe just one direction for now. That's up to you.
Yeah, and I do want to bring it into the city for sure so that we have some shade because that will
Okay.
accelerate the change to the microclimate.
And the brigadier says, plus the children will need somewhere to stay in the safety of the obelisk too. So best that we have a comfortable spot for them.
Do we have an obelisk yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay. So, um, I think what I've been trying to do in the last couple of months is encourage growth everywhere that we can. And we're basically turning the desert into habitable land for the plants and the trees and the scrub and whatever. And I've been talking with the plants and encouraging the growth of green to come further down from the mountain and into the desert to push back the desert.
Uh, while you're explaining this, Macau has been investigating the sand with their fingers,
Okay.
because as you have you can clearly tell they have never seen such a phenomenon before.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Okay.
but they're sort of investigating the area around where the plants have taken root and seeing how the sort of earth is connected here. Um, and pretty much what they tell you is we can help.
Great.
And what that's going to turn into is through whatever nonverbal whisperings they're able to make with these plants. They seem to have a similar capability for plant growth that you do as a druid. Um, and so the same work that you've been doing, this goes from a one woman team to a three-person team.
Excellent.
Um, and basically you're able to accelerate that much with
Wonderful.
this shoring up. And before too long, you have some comfortable tree cover in the city proper too, and
Okay, good.
you're able to give them both a sort of safe place uh, in the relatively deep growth where they can relax, especially during the redshift.
I figured that they're one of the houses, residences, or former something or other structures near near that park. You know, when now we should have better established the park itself,
Mhm.
and hopefully Nimbus's group and his group have done more with the water. And I wanted to dibs one of those structures for the kids if they want it. I know that trees don't live in houses, so maybe they don't want to have
Yeah,
that.
they tell you the same. They're basically like, no, we want to stay out in the sun.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Um, so just tell us what you need to be comfortable. You know,
They need
a hammock, anything.
they need water, sun, and pretty much they can often build for themselves whatever else they need as long as they have ample living things.
Okay, so just let us know anything that you need help with, and we'll be happy to help out with that.
Yeah, so they are part of the team now, and
Yeah.
so
Okay. Good.
that will be Naya's task for the duration. Um, so even though Ambergreen moved his name, we'll stick to the original order. So Nimbus, you're up next.
I did move my name.
So this has all been going on. Everything that everybody's been doing so far has kind of been happening in tandem. What does Nimbus want to do while Montlarin and Ambergreen and Albus are building stuff, and Arenaeus is digging, and Naya is growing?
All right. So I gotta ask, how many miles is it by all of our, well-used roads or to get all the way back to Fort?
It is a process of about 2, 4, 7, 9, maybe 12 to 14 days, depending on how you do it and how the timing of the redshift works out to go one way all the way from
No,
here to there.
no, but okay, if I'm using Phantom Steed, I'm going 10 miles in 13.
Right. So you're
So
cutting that time more than in half, I believe.
yeah, that's why I was trying to figure out per mile.
Um, why don't we just call that closer to like 4 or 5 days then?
Okay. So not initially, but towards the end, I guess winter solstice, I'm planning to jam the hell back, get on the ship before it ships out, uh, go back home, do a little bit of this and that there, come back on the next ship available. So I'm only out for Redshift, basically. So it would be a total of 3 redshifts required to do a visit back. Is that
You
feasible
may
or not really?
you would probably have time. You'd basically need to be taking leave from the whole Shose effort to make that happen. So if you wanted to like do work on the city to any significant degree other than just like the first week or so, um, you would probably have to stick around for a lot longer than that. It wouldn't have time before the adventures start again.
I see. Okay. And then the other question, um, at about week 4 or 5, when I've done about as much as I can with ending using water, controlling. What else does control water do? Do I make storms? flood, part water, redirect flow, whirlpool. So it would probably be getting the water aqueducts and stuff all set up and prepped. You could fill them the first time, as well as when our scouts have revealed where the old waterway, use a combination of control water, shape water, and old earth. Kind of move debris out of the way, raise the stream to blast it out the rest. Get it
Yeah,
flowing.
so it's actually a pretty quick thing because again, you do have these aqueducts that run north and south to the mountains. So I mean, if you wanted to be part of the team that goes to investigate those and potentially even like just get them going as soon as possible, that is also something that could happen.
That
I
I had a question, but
Question.
you kind of answered it.
Oh yes.
Naya can go first.
Oh, I'm looking at my control water, and the flood, the first option, it says you cause the water level of all standing water in the area to rise by as much as 20 feet. Is that
right.
something
Holy
that
cow.
can right? Is that something that can be poured into, like in the aqueduct, rise 20 feet? And then it says if the area includes a shore or the edge of the aqueduct, the flooding water spills over onto dry land,
Mhm.
which could really help growth.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Water the plants.
Yeah, that's exactly what the plan is get the aqueducts so that they can hold water, and then use my magic
Kind of
water
overflow
maker
them.
so that we have enough still water, to have like a shallow pool in all the
We have
aqueduct areas, and then I just cast that and I raise it up and I just kind of, gently flood the area, big ditches, move some dirt.
well, or
and
even have a
radiate that.
have a cistern brought over to store it.
Well, if the aqueducts run north to south, like connecting mountain range to mountain range, it might just be that there's a blockage up ahead in the trough, and it needs to get cleared so that wherever it connects to, presumably it's running towards the ocean. So wherever it
Is-
connects to in the north is it has enough free flowing water, assuming that's still there too. I was gonna ask, like, there's no water source on the map. How are
Right.
they getting water to place from place to place?
Well, I can make water. I can make a lot of water.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Naya can
I
also
understand.
create water as well. The main thing is that using control water and the flood aspect of control water requires standing water.
Right.
So you'd have to have created water, put it into the aqueduct,
And then let it sit for a minute.
and then let it sit, make sure that it actually will hold, and then use flood to raise it 20 feet or, fill the aqueduct, basically.
It does need to be standing water, doesn't it? It couldn't be flowing water. So if
Does
you had
say standing water.
flowing aqueduct, it wouldn't quite work.
I mean, you could block it.
The whole point of the
No,
aqueduct-
It says it's a cube up
can-
to 100 feet on a side.
it can be used on like the shores, literally, to raise it, lower the tide.
Right. It can.
So I'm pretty sure, the fact that there's a body of water that, or not,
I see.
whether it's flush.
Even if it was like rainwater, standing water, suddenly you're just going to make that a huge amount.
Yeah.
Even if it's a half an inch of
Just
puddle,
a little
you know?
puddle, it's a little crack in the ground. It's like, all right, time for some mayhem. Time to flood this town.
I mean, because Neuro can create water and Naya can as well, she's got that one prepared. But then using control water, then we could cause a little bit of created water to
All right,
actually
everyone.
flood
The
the
latrine
aqueducts.
is the aqueduct.
So but it's like, sir, what can we do here?
I thought we were looking for the natural source of this.
Yeah,
aqueduct up
we
in the
have
mountain.
scouts that are looking at that. I would imagine the first day is, me and whatever other people are just clearing and digging. I'd probably have Lufael take it as a cantrip and maybe Sharp as well. Mold Earth, so we're all just able to move, shovel out as much of the sand as possible. You know,
Are the aqueducts full of sand?
aren't they?
Well, I
No,
don't know.
they were on the southwest side of the
Oh,
wall.
oh, I thought they had sand coming into
No,
the
because
wall side.
that's where Montlarin and Albus were able to ride.
Oh, never mind. Then I'd have all of them take mending so they can help out with repair efforts. Just follow the engineer.
Oh, mending, good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and go all the way up
We-
up the thing, repairing it, and try
Yeah.
to find a store.
We can't fix everything. There are things that are going to require repair. What we can fix, all the little
That's what Aranus is helping with too.
yeah. And so it would
Cool.
be first doing that, then we're pretty confident we can start raising the water level.
Okay, so at a certain point, some of the scouts return to you, and they let you know, on the south side, they followed the southern aqueduct, that kind of first of all, the aqueducts lead into the city via the walls. They descend a little bit, and they are flush with the ground. So they're actually like man-made rivers, basically in the city. And they twist and spiral around the whole city. You visited those when you saw the city earlier, and obviously they were all dry. Um, so they followed the one that sort of intersects with your obelisk area, and followed it to its aqueduct, and followed that aqueduct to the southern mountains. And what they found, what they're reporting is indeed that there's a what looks to be the aftermath of a major earthquake or rock slide or something, that appears to be blocking um, the potential mouth of this aqueduct. Nimbus, do you think this is probably the sort of thing that, with a day of effort, you could pretty easily clear with your magic?
Oh, I would definitely.
Okay. Um, so yeah,
That's good work, man. That is
it's
excellent.
Be like
it's
Tim up
pretty
on the
careful.
hill in Holy Grail, just blast.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So you've got to obviously you've got to leave the city. You've got to take a hike all the way to the mountains. You've got to go up a little ways, follow this thing. So you're camping out up there for a night, and then come morning you arrive at this sort of collapsed space, and it is somewhat delicate work. Obviously, you don't want to cause more rock slides, um, but piece by piece, you're able to sort of reverse Tetris this destruction and open it up, and there is a sort of maw in the mountain, and as you break it apart, you notice as you dig through the several feet of rock that's necessary, um, and I imagine this is a lot of like shape earth and stuff, right? Just like
Yeah,
pick up,
shape Earth
move,
as much as I can, or in some cases,
disintegrate that bit, like just get rid of it.
it might just be easier in some cases just to freeze the entire thing in ice chunk than
Oh yeah. So
pushing.
again, chiseling away at this, and eventually you're able to get a sort of a piddly little stream coming out between the cracks, and as you chip away at it further, it starts to turn into a full proper flow of um, water from whatever aquifer or other water source is behind here. Um, and you're able to fully clear it over the span of a day or two, and the 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 scouting team still wants to kind of like excavate the area, really. But what you have uncovered is aqueduct fed by a spring that is inside the mountain via a small cave, and now you have flowing water through the aqueduct.
That's awesome.
Woo!
And it flows downhill north, um, and this is obviously a little ways after many of the repairs have been made. Um, there are points that need to be patched up over the next week or so, but by the end of the 3-month time span, you have at the very least the river that runs through your portion of Shose filled up, and you have fresh water.
There is one other thing I wanted to take 1 week's worth of outing to do.
Yeah, you'd have a little bit of extra time.
I would want to try Elvis Staffer away from the project just if otherwise I'll
No, I deliberately said that I had enough time, and especially since all of my projects seem to be more like prep work for the final touches and pieces.
Yeah.
I have like literally plenty of time to help support my team, so that's what I dedicated the rest of the half of my time to. I was expecting to have to crawl into a hole and excavate the spring. So I'm very happy that your shape Earth is an actual thing, because I was not looking forward to becoming a
Having to live your gnome life. Yeah.
I mean, at least now you can have the video.
oh right, no, that would make the digging so much easier.
And then I suppose the other question, I'll learn, would you be up?
I'd be available for something. I mean, basically walling up streets and stuff, so I'm definitely around.
I would want to have 2 of you come with up the western side of the just to scout out the way to and the state of Rayback.
I'm down. And
Yeah, I'm down.
to cartographer and also maybe
Is
treasure.
Raybass the one that's blue on the map? Oh no, I'm doing it wrong.
It's the one all the way up to the
Froggy Hill? No.
Past that.
Foggy Hill?
Yeah, it's north. It's not on this map right now, right?
yeah. It's
Oh,
only
okay.
we only know about it on Ye Old.
Oh, that's right, the inventory map.
Mhm.
Okay. So at what speed can you move again?
Well, he's got Warhorse, and I can go 10.
Okay.
Whatever
Yeah. So
his-
it'll have to be whoever is the slowest. So if you're using the triple horse, I guess. Right.
Well, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean,
Elvis's-
if I'm taking Bet Mountie, he's going to be slower than your Phantom Steeds for sure.
yeah, but
Is that
it's better if we do it that way, because if something were to come up along the way,
got it? Okay.
a riding horse combat.
Totally.
So I believe that makes it hang on, wait. 5 miles per hour, which is
Does it?
I think because the warhorse is 50 feet, right? Wrong.
60.
Oh, 60. Okay, 6 miles per hour. So it's double speed then. Okay, got it. That makes it easier. So you're basically moving 8 hexes a day. So
That's
let's see.
fast.
Yes, it is. 24, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Sorry, I need to count this out.
It actually counts it for you. It says how many.
Oh, you're right. Huh. Okay, so yes, okay. So you are able to get to
We'd probably hug the mountain a little there. So
yeah, okay. Um
I mean, I'd imagine the number of
this.
hexes is going to be roughly similar anyway, but yeah.
Yeah. Um okay. I think around here is a good starting point. So let me reveal some of these. So you are able to find that the mountains do extend quite a ways in this direction, as portrayed on your old map. Um, there is a lot of obviously the range goes far north, right? Um,
it's pretty much
no,
Bray Best, and then there's a zone.
right. So just uncovering some of the tallest mountains that you can see here.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, they go all the way up. That's
Indeed.
huh.
Yeah, but there's
I'm
got to be
glad we
a pass somewhere.
I'm glad we didn't waste our time trying to find something that might not exist.
Right.
Northwest Passage.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and if it doesn't, then it's true Shose is the only way to get east.
Also, just judging by hexes, I think we would get that far and then basically just not be able to do anything, maybe even halfway.
Yeah.
Right.
Around because of the redshift.
Yeah, this is a that's sort of why the Foggy Hill area was a potential obelisk location, and still is up for consideration, right? Um, but this is sort of what you're able to uncover here, and Albus Tapper, you can obviously scroll all this together. Um, but you do note that as you get further north and you get to where these mountains sort of start to veer off to the east um, a little bit, um, you also come into contact with that old northern forest.
Is there any more mountain between us and the tower at best?
Well, so what you're actually looking at is this forest has smashed up against this mountain range at the north. Um, and this is not the same kind of forest that you have visited, like around Arsa's Tower area or where the grandmother lives. Um, this is a vast and deep forest whose canopy, uh, in certain places, stretches higher than the foothills you are riding alongside. Right.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
so, um, this is a place that is uh I will not say that you cannot enter it, but it is difficult to safely go through. For all intents and purposes, this is another um, difficult landmark that you would need to cross uh, in order to go further east. Um, You don't see any tall peaks on the other side going east. So it's possible that this location is sort of where the mountain range ends and the forest has kind of uh grown in to the very edge, the northern edge of the mountain range. But it's hard to tell obviously because it is a good 100 or so miles of distance toward, any map edges here. I guess that's 100 miles there.
Yeah. Okay. Um.
You do notice though that you are kind of of level with the giant the star tower that pierces the heavens in terms of latitude. So
All right.
Oh,
that's
how about that?
close relatively speaking. But that tower is always in view. You've been able to see it from everywhere.
Do we want to try to? Now you're saying like this area here is actually still forest. What?
Yes, I don't believe there is a forest and mountain tile, in fact.
So, well, fellas, do we want to trace a path northward to see where this forest goes? Follow it.
Oh yeah, that's certainly viable.
Do it, do it, do it.
Yeah.
Sounds
Okay.
alright.
All right.
So what I'll do is I'll give you like 10 more hexes of space before you have to cut away, I think. So if you're just
Yeah.
following the edge of the forest, um I'm actually counting this out so that I can give you the proper edge. You're basically traveling along like this. Plus a relatively normal wooded area to your south. Not quite the extreme uh, growth that you're witnessing forming this barrier here. Obviously, you'll be able to do a little bit of seeking around the edges.
Yeah.
And I think that is about where the redshift would start, and you'd have to call it and head back home.
Cool. That
When you
covers a
get
lot of
back and
area.
report, yeah, when you get back and report this in, this is all useful information, and Brigadier would tell you like, well, even if you couldn't find a way around that's useful info, we didn't know the old forest came um this far south. So
Save the
depending on
six
how
bit. I thought we were gonna have to go through Abast.
hmm, um yeah, this is, well, I suppose we get to choose between a desert, mountains, or the forest. So for
Desert
now,
with plenty of water. It won't be too much of a desert.
that's true,
That's right.
at least around here. Still, it might be a good idea for us to poke around that northern area a little bit more. Uh, if we can get another obelisk up at that rune you all found, and then perhaps somewhere else further north, that might do us some good. But we'll have to, obviously, efforts focused around here for now. We'll have to see what we find in the desert, and then perhaps we'll have time to uh, stretch out that direction.
I'm sure there's adventures to be had, but event for us aside. in the forest there. By the way, while we were there, I'd probably have grabbed some of the plants, sort of fruits or anything, like daggers.
Yeah, I was on the hunt for things.
Oh yeah. The old forest is known to contain particular kinds of megaflora. And even on the outskirts, you can occasionally find uh things like that. Unfortunately, a lot of it is toxic. But I think everyone here would have the knowledge required to, except maybe Montlarin, um, would have the knowledge required to not pick up the poisonous stuff.
I could ask at least.
Yeah.
Or
This poisonous?
maybe
Are
actually,
you poisonous? More accurate.
I
Yeah, Montlarin's like, hey, we didn't have a big ass cursed forest where I'm from, or does he?
No, not like this. Nope.
I would say things that we identify to be poison, I would kind of want to put in a separate leather sack and use like the mage hand to move it. And so that way we have something we can give Sariana. We should turn it.
Yeah, okay. So you're able to collect a few seedlings and samples and fruits and bits and leaves and you know those sorts of things.
A soiree of funky junk.
Yeah, obviously there's stuff that you can eat on the way back, and then yeah, plenty of prizes for your local kobold to uh experiment with. Great. Okay, good. Progress. Amber Green, you're the last one. You have had plenty of time to consider your options. So, what has Amber Green been doing for these 3 months?
$10 says it's writing a song.
Yeah, I was gonna say writing a song or playing a song.
Actually, I
I've
was
done nothing but sing and play this massive
I was
epic for the last 90 days.
Nope.
so I was helping with my stone cunning to
Yes.
figure out where to wall off the approaches and basically just in general fortify what we have into a kind of a walled structure. And I probably also applied that same stone cunning to making sure that the aqueducts were all, up
Okay.
to snuff and working well, ready to handle the water that they were about to pump into it, and then they did, and the water worked, and that was great. And thereafter, I followed everyone around and wrote a song about what was going on with our adventures to the north.
Perfect. Okay. Now, I want to know, Amber Green, so you were involved in the team excavating the aqueduct, and were you also involved in the other excavations throughout the city?
Probably like anytime anyone was like, wait a minute, how did these walls even go together? Like somebody I'm
Yeah,
sure called
okay.
for me and I came running across the town and was like, oh, this looks
Uh,
like mortar and tenon here.
Okay, so 2 points of interest. One, sort of midway through this whole thing, um, uh, you might be around the area at the time, or maybe somebody called you over. But you learn that the people excavating the northeast half of the city have found what looks to be a statue
Whoa,
buried
cool.
in sand.
Oh, that's
All the
cool.
way up to the forehead.
Oh. I also throw mending as a cantrip.
Of
I'm sure
course.
I'm helping with that.
Oh, excellent. So, would you like to help them uncover this statue? Because
Absolutely.
this seems pretty interesting for them.
Yeah, very much.
Okay. So
I even have history, +3.
yes, and I think this would count for your advantage, right? So, you can, I mean, you can roll history with advantage right here if you want.
Yeah, as soon as we get enough uncovered that I can like get a good look at it.
Yeah. Go for it. And
Eh.
Well, here's tell me what you do with this information. So, um, the statue that you uncover is very eroded by time. This is not surprising. It was buried in sand and it's probably been blasted by the same stuff for hundreds of years. Um, the contents of the statue are a pair of elves, um, but their facial features and details have again been kind of scoured away and are tough to make out. They barely even have faces, right? Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, you could tell they're elves from the body structure and everything. Like they're tall and lanky. Um, but the elves are also holding an infant.
Holding what?
A
An
baby.
infant, a
Aha.
baby. Um, these elves who despite the erosion, you can still make out the vague shapes of crowns on their head. Um, they have they both of them are holding the child, and as you uncover it, the strange thing that you find about this statue is that the uh, features of the baby part of the statue are built as though the artist's chisel finished yesterday. They're not eroded like the parents.
Whoa. Is there any? Wow. Um, is that like on
Holy
purpose?
baby in it.
Well, is that part of the part of the craft, or is it magic?
Yeah. So no, your role, absolutely, it is not part of the craft for these two parents to be uh eroded. I mean, you can even see like they're pockmarked with like the effects of sand on them. Like this is not how the statue was supposed to look.
But the babies are like clean.
Yeah, well, like once you've cleared the sand away and like the group of people you have kind of dug this out, um, the whole statue is weather worn, except for the infant.
That's a trip. That's crazy. I would want to share this, and then I
Yeah,
would
okay.
probably write a poem about it.
I wonder, would I be able to restore the surface?
Well, I have mending as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
we haven't tried
I think mending. Can you pop the spell in the readout? Um, oh, hang on, we have better spells than that. I have to check the special version. Oh, there we go. The cumulative corrosive damage
Yeah, yours
is
would do
no
better
more
than
than
mine
minus
because
3.
mine is a cantrip.
Oh, you have the same thing. You just didn't update it. Uh, yeah, I would say this not corrosion but uh erosion amounts to a -3. So yes, Amber Green, your mending would be able to repair the statue.
All right, cool.
Well, it makes it
I would
interesting
do
though
that.
that the face of the child is
Oh
not
yeah,
eroded. So I would be like, looking for magic.
yeah, that's definitely noted. I don't know that I don't have detect magic ready. I do know it. I just don't have it ready.
You have 7 weeks, so you can
I okay.
make it ready.
I could throw a detect magic at it.
Yeah. So
That's what
the
I'd be doing.
statue is non-magical. It's completely mundane.
Crazy.
Wow, that's really weird then.
I have detect good and evil.
Well, let me tell you what happens with your mending. Um, you mend the statue, and there's some like this is sort of a cosmic reversal of events, right? Where you're just sort of rewinding the effects of nature on this object. Um, so you don't know what it's supposed to look like, but it knows what it was supposed to look like originally, and you mend it back. I suppose there's a certain argument to be made about whether mending a statue chiseled from a block would make the block instead of the statue, but perhaps the statue is a different object than the block.
That's a fair question.
Um,
Intent
uh,
is most of it.
so, but yeah, you're able to mend the statue, and Ambergrin, once you're done, you are looking at a statue of the king and queen holding their daughter.
Huh. Okay. All right. Well, hey, you guys, look. Like, what do you know about the crown?
The crown
I got a
originally
reward from her once.
Oh, that's
The
right.
cr-
They were staying in Shose in the last vision.
Right. The princess was sick, right?
Yeah. Go get
Well,
At the time, yeah.
she was always kind of sickly. I got close to her that one time.
Yeah, she wasn't let out of her tent at the festival, the fair.
Yeah, I got to go see her in the tent. I mean, in an entirely wholesome way.
I mean, you also met her in person in a bad cave, so
That too.
in person in big quotes. uh, but yeah, Amber Green, did you have a question about the crowns specifically?
Can I tell like, yeah? What can I tell about like which king and queen? Like, do my party members know more about these people than I do? It seems like they do.
These are the king and queen that you met
Oh, okay.
in the distant past, in those strange occasions that have happened.
I have
a
not
few
been
times.
at all of those. I've only been to a couple.
You've only been to a couple, however,
Maybe only two. Yeah.
you might were you at the fair?
No, but I heard about
Okay,
it.
so
No.
you might not have met the queen, but you have met the king. At least from afar, you've seen him. Um, so that at least, there's that recognition there. You recognize King Erditus.
Okay. Wow. So
Um,
yeah. So who attempted to erase the 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 crown of of this place? Well, this place back then. This must be related? Is the redshift some form of like trying to scrub away something that happened?
I think it's the other way around, right? It preserved the princess's visage.
Visage, but only the baby, not the parents.
Correct. The princess was preserved. Remember, the redshift is trying to make some reality a fact, right?
Oh, like to reify something. That's right.
Right. So what if the thing it's trying to reify is saving the princess? After all, we know that she was, dying.
Honestly, it would make a lot of sense if this was some wacky kid's nightmare.
Right. Or at least a child lashing out with magic, trying to do something inarticulate.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, if the spell was cast to save the princess and it failed, that doesn't mean that some echoes of that effect wouldn't take place, right? Like,
Right. No, I hear
watch
you.
a spell, some of it still happens, doesn't it?
Sure, exactly.
So note the princess is preserved.
Right. That's true.
Hmm. And they're all made of the same stone. bit of
Oh yeah. It's all one. It's like carved out of one block, right?
That perspective has a lot of merit. Preserving the princess as an echo of that.
Well, if we believe all of this started at the tower, that's where she would have been, right?
I don't know.
And I would imagine a king would have access to the resources, if not the actual power necessary to make something like this happen.
Last you heard, Montlarin, she was in a safe location in Shose, actually. But she had been getting moved from
Right.
Maracus area back for quite a while. It was a challenging trip for various reasons.
Right. Yeah, a lot of opposition and other issues. But yeah, I was projecting forward. I was assuming that they maybe made it, you know.
Trig, just like theory crafting off of what you said, I'm gonna have to be grim, Mount Lauren, and say maybe they didn't make it, and that's why the red effect is, or the red shift might be acting this way. Perhaps the spell was to, protect the princess, and then something happened. Opposition happened. Sickness happened.
We
She
already
wasn't
know there was plenty
protectable,
of
yeah.
opposition, like the orcs taking her, and
No, exactly. That's what I mean.
there was plenty of opposition.
Yeah, perhaps she didn't make it back. And maybe Chose is her too.
Evergreen, there's one other thing that you find for this duration. This would be on the last week before we go back to normal adventuring. But if you Amber Green had accepted a offer to come take a look at the Southern Aqueduct, because some folks thought they found something interesting up in the spring.
Sure.
Okay. Um, Give me another history check here, if you would.
Okay.
Again, you'd have advantage. But you're kind of up in the mountains. This is the same place where Nimbus was kind of carving away. Um oh wow. Not the best
Not
advantage
great.
rolls tonight. Um
Those dice are getting replaced.
this is this sort of cave that has a sort of underground stream produced from it. Um what some of the scouts have found is that if you go into the back of the relatively shallow cave, it looks like there may have been another cave in at some point. And maybe they've actually started excavating it just with regular tools. And um, they've sort of broken through to a point where, from what it looks like, that at the moment they kind of just have a hole that you can peek through. Um, but you think you see some like further aqueduct structure, and this part of the cave goes back into the darkness further than you could see, Evergreen.
Wow. Okay. I have dark vision, you know.
Yes, I do now. So
I'm curious what's in there now.
you think that this might be the sort of thing that maybe like this is a task for the gang.
Indeed, I mark it and I go report that. I tell people
Yeah,
we
that
should
would
go
be
plumb these depths.
if you're looking at the map, that would be like right around here, up in these hills.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So as the year rolls over, and several redshifts go by.
Happy birthday to Elvis Tavern.
Yes, happy birthday to a couple of people. Yes, Irenaeus and Albus Tabor. You'd have your birthdays in this duration act. In fact,
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday! I'll play you guys songs on your
Happy,
birthday.
happy.
so please
I gotta update my age.
accept the age.
I'll play you some jams on your birthday.
It is time.
I never thought I would almost turn 30 during the Redshift.
Me too. Me too.
Is this a COVID plague joke?
I believe
Yes.
I thought so.
I believe Irenaeus
I'm
is
laughing.
30 now.
I think 29. Unless a
You
year
might-
happened.
Unless I
forgot.
totally lost that entire fucking year.
Yeah.
You might have skipped one because I have your birthday in 1190 and it's currently going into 1221.
Big mood.
90, 12, 20.
90 to 20
No,
is
that-
30, yeah.
No, that makes sense.
How many years is that? I'm dumb.
All right. Turning
30.
30 during the Redshift. All right.
No, how many years is that? I'm dumb.
It's 30
Yeah.
years.
That was 30 years?
Yeah.
1190 to 1220. Yeah.
When did Elvis start? 1190?
Or we're talking about birth dates, not
Oh,
higher date.
Okay, okay.
Albus is a 94 kid.
He is just a kid, huh?
Yeah, I knew I hadn't hit 30 yet. I thought it was like 28 now.
I have you as 27.
I was 1 year off. There we go.
Naya's only
Great.
26, isn't she? Or is she 27 now?
Also 27.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
my bad.
Naya's race doesn't live as long as gnomes.
That's true.
You're practically middle-aged.
Well, no, she lives as long as humans, so she's definitely, hitting her biological cycle.
Yes. Okay. These are all.
Was that TMI?
No.
No, I actually thought
I'm thinking for a moment.
I'm trying to make my brain go forward.
Okay.
I had a moment where I was like, "You're the only one here allowed to say that."
Damn straight, son.
I'll take that.
Panther's Exeath has bypassed the glorious 555 date as well. Sad day. His age is no longer cool. The year rolls over and Shose is now quite well developed.
Yay! I was hoping you had a map. Yay!
At least a
Well,
new
not quite a
splash
map.
page for the
Yeah.
for the start of the campaign.
So everybody has all moved over, including Captain Van, who has finished his duties up northwest. At this point, the real tasks that the commission has are to figure out, the best and safest way to cross the desert besides sticking to the foothills around the mountains. Obviously, getting through the sand is going to be difficult for a lot of the people in this commission. Maybe not all of them, due to various magics, but there are challenges involved. Obviously, there's also that discovery that Ambergreen made, and it's also worth noting that nearby the path taken by a lot of the carts coming up from Fort Van is still that large structure off a little ways to the west of Shose. that seems to match up to the rough location of where the town Paladay was described to you by Kieran uh, a little while back. Um, and nobody has actually had the chance to go and really investigate that structure yet. So this is kind of a open question and pretty close by too. Um, Aside from that, everybody is here, and you know, next steps are venture into the desert.
Nice.
Yeah, kick ass.
Sounds like a plan. Um, so what I suppose what do we think the plan is next for next week? You've got to wait out a Redshift, um, in the city. But everything's been done for a few days now. Um, so you guys are all back together again. Uh, there's obviously always still work to be done, but everything that you were able to help with or needed to help with is pretty much solved. Um,
Did all 5 of the things on the list get done?
oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You have some basic defenses. Uh, you have a lot of greenery grown around the city and around the edges of the desert. The 2 children are happily invested in their new home, um, among a lot of other people. The aqueducts are filled. Yeah.
Life is good. Okay.
What did Soriana say about all the stuff we brought back from
Uh,
old?
the big fruits and such are not terribly useful for her, but the various toxins and poisons she can definitely concoct into a couple of um, poisonous implements for you if you'd like, if that sounds handy to you.
That does see. But then the other question: are any of these full enough that we should instead use what we've got here, grow them, and have
Um,
because we can.
yeah, generally the sort of stuff you'd get from the old forest, she tells you, are more effort than they're worth. Um, Compared to the stuff that we already have, especially in terms of like foodstuffs. Um, it probably wouldn't hurt to, if you have a few seedlings and stuff, to maybe sprinkle them around in the open parks and everything. Um,
Well,
but
I was thinking if we could do something controlled, get some of the poison, grow in a protected area. That might pull
Oh,
more of these poison weapons available.
oh yeah, she can definitely do that with at least a couple of the items that you've brought her.
Cool. Well, yeah, then that's what I'm looking. Take poisonous, weapon and apply whatever, and throw the last more. That's
Yeah, I also think we probably shouldn't call Shose secure until we've checked out that cave that Ambergreen discovered.
that's. I think that would be a good.
One last thing.
Yeah.
Uh, at a certain point, this maybe occurs halfway through your efforts to fortify this place. Um, the brigadier receives a letter. Um, she exits her new office carrying the letter, she finds whichever one of you is nearest to her at the time.
Always me.
And yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Puppy
And
dog.
she says, uh, we will need to tell everybody else about this. But excellent news. Uh, this is a certification from the Saint Empress, and she has signed a bill that will give us full funding for the commission indefinitely.
Haha! That is wonderful.
Nice.
Kick ass.
I've been working towards that since I've got here.
Very nice.
Um, so I I think at this point, obviously,
Everybody, drinks all around.
well, yes, you can do that. But obviously, this will mean that the marks system is no longer necessary. Obviously, we will still be keeping track of your salary for your eventual retirement, of course. Um, but any, you know, supplies are now you can simply ask, and we have them.
Very nice.
My word.
Being oh,
No, including the adventuring gear and weapons and armor tables from the handbook.
oh,
Yeah,
oh, we
this
can
is
get everyone in their heavy armor, heavy.
Yes.
Cool.
yeah, this is a government subsidy, not the corner club. Man, if the corner club like actually poured some money in this.
Oh, Grand Tassel, one question. Now, this letter does say that not necessarily conditional on the funding, but as part of this bill, we are expected to provide the Unicornus Spear to the Empire. Now,
Wait, what?
Uh,
if I am understanding the scenario correctly, that spear no longer exists.
that is correct.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's. I mean, whoops.
And yeah.
Well, okay, just had to double check. I'll make sure that the Empire is aware of that. And for future reference, if we ever happen to find any other objects that are capable of doing shifting, um, those are not for sale to the Empire.
Do we? Or
Bits and pieces, but those at this point, those are more of a novelty than something useful.
it wouldn't have to make a new version.
No, the fragments are far more volatile in the tests and even additional practice that you've been able to do in the meantime. It is
Okay,
it
so it
doesn't
wasn't
seem
my fault.
feasible. No, no, it was just part of the you know man-made shifting.
Hmm.
But yeah, she says, yeah, yeah. If we ever get anything like that again, I have had a thought of my own, or two that it should not be allowed to leave the zone, and Just wanted to check we were on the same page on that.
Lucen, you have my word. I will give any shifting object to you and to no other.
Oh, great. Okay. Right. Well, I have to go tell Mercutio about this. So, tell your friends and yes.
Albus Tavern goes, woo! And then walks off with like wine in hand and, starts telling everybody, even people he doesn't really talk to.
He found wine.
I always have a stash. Like I've been saving, I save up like I count. I gather. I save.
It's the real reason he travels with a barrel.
I see. Yeah, so okay everyone, I think that's everything for tonight. So next week it sounds like the plan is to maybe go check out that aqueduct situation
Yep, sounds like a good one.
and onward into the desert.
I'm glad we were all successful.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's good.
I am also glad. So thank you for coming back, everyone. Maybe we will finish this campaign this year. We'll see.
What a concept.
Woohoo!
But
Then what are we gonna do?
Yeah, I
I know.
actually noticed when I loaded up Roll20 today, I was like, holy crap, that says part 3. Wow. That means that like we've been through like whole chapters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Then what are we gonna do when this ends? We gotta have something else on Friday nights, guys.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
We'll have to. Yeah.
Well,
we'll
I
have
do
to
have a
think about
one
that.
shot in the works.
True. Okay. Don't worry. You have plenty of time. I said maybe this year.
Maybe
I'm
not.
working on the Teleston Player's Guide, guys. I'm working on the Player's Guide.
He is.
Perfect.
Yep.
And
Really is.
that is where we will leave.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks for the session, man.
Wait. That
Fun
says
times.
part 4.
Yes, it
What?
is.
What?
Time warp.
That happened this session, you guys.
Right.
Yeah, we all of part 3.
Oh,
No, not all of them. I
in,
mean, I just realized that we were on part 3 and
in the last quest.
wow,
In the time frame, did Albus get any letters from his side of things when it comes to entering the army as an officer?
Okay. The answer to that is yes, but let me give them to you next week.
No, absolutely. I definitely get.
Okay.
It keeps me like, ooh, on my toes. Also, I think you might want to discuss this with me or not, but I think Albus Tavern has gone through an alignment change.
Excellent. Okay. We let's talk about that in Discord.
What does that mean?
It means he has grown as a person.
Yep, he's had a change of heart.
He's no longer chaotic evil?
I don't think he wasn't.
Wow.
Never chaotic evil.
Wow.
Sorry, Elvis. No, what I mean is that when we
neutral
say
evil.
when you say an alignment change, that's what I think of. Is that
Yeah.
not the right
Yeah,
verbiage?
yeah, that means you've grown as a person.
Oh,
He was
Okay.
never chaotic evil.
Or potentially you could have gotten worse as a person, but
That's fair.
I
You've
don't think
changed.
that's the direction he went.
okay. All right, that's interesting. Cool. Thank you. I'm
Uh,
still learning, obviously.
But
No, I
yeah,
got it.
tell me about your alignment in Discord. Otherwise, good game, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming back.
Thanks,
see
sir.
you
Thank
next
you.
week, same
Thanks,
time.
guys.
Thank you for DMing.
You're welcome.
Always.
We'll be around.
Cool. Night, everybody.
Where else would I
Night,
be on a
everybody.
Friday night?
Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
All right.